Hello, we're a Frankland River camp. We walked from Walpole this morning. It was about 17 kilometres, so not such a long day. I've got here about 2:30, and I'm just going to show you the river because it's quite beautiful. I think you can probably hear it in the background. Yeah, gentle flow. Sort of tempting to get in, but I'm not gonna. Could get my feet in, but I don't know, it's just not calling me today. It was a bit of a sweaty walk, but I guess because let's just sit here by the river. Because I had a shower. I had just had 2 days in, 2 nights in Walpole, so just had a shower, a couple of nice hot showers, and yeah, so I guess I'm not feeling the need really to jump in the river today to wash, and it's not that warm, and I'm guessing the water's probably pretty cold. But it's very relaxing, nice gentle flow. You can just hear it lapping against the rocks there. So this camp is different. It's got a deck, and it's on stilts, so I think that's probably because of the river floods in winter. And the signs everywhere saying, please put your food, either suspend it or put it in the plastic container, because they have rats here, native rats and possums that come and have come to get food. We've been hearing stories about that, so we're here. It's just been recently oiled, the deck and the timbers of the cabin, so it smells beautiful actually. And there's a few mozzies about, so I've got my net up in the cabin, mosquito net, and yeah, I'm just gonna have a quiet night here, and then we head tomorrow to the Giants camp, which is where the treetop walk is, so looking forward to that tomorrow. We've been passing enormous tingle trees today through the forest. It's been a really beautiful walk, and we went past this huge tingle tree that is still alive, and it's been burnt out on the inside, but the trunk is super thick, and you can stand under it and in it, and it's huge. The girth is just enormous. Yeah, they're quite magnificent, quite gigantic trees, and so that's what we've been walking through today. But what I wanted to talk about, I've been thinking about it for the last few days, is because up until we stopped at Walpole for the 2 nights and had showers, we were getting pretty sweaty most days, and it'd been quite warm, so we'd been smelling. And I've been talking to Franco about body odour, and I'd been saying, oh, I really stink, and really smelling myself during the day. But interestingly, I'd take off my clothes and sniff them, and they weren't particularly stinky, so it was actually my body emitting this odour that I was unfamiliar with. And the nether regions, after weeing in the bush and sometimes pooing in the bush during the day when we're not near a long drop, just takes its toll on the odour front. And yeah, so after 4 or 5 days, it starts to become a bit malodorous, And I was thinking about that, what I'm used to smelling or not smelling, and the naturalness of body odor, and I'm telling myself I stink, and yet that's my smell, my body smell. And so curious about my self-disgust with my own body odor, my natural smell, and wondering about being able to embrace my odor and embrace my body smell. And how would that be if I never washed, or I only washed in water and didn't use soap and didn't use deodorant and didn't use shampoo, so didn't have, and washed my clothes in water as well, and so I didn't have that sanitizing, deodorizing or odorizing effect of, scents, artificial scents, essential oils or what have you. Would I eventually become accustomed to my own odor? And would I, just curious about the long term, eventually would I begin to enjoy it and actually find it a pleasant thing and something that was uniquely me? And how would Michael respond to that? And would it be something that is a turn on for him and perhaps myself? And how would life be if we were all just smelt like ourselves instead of smelling like Pear's soap or lavender or whatever, sandalwood or whatever our particular soap smells like? And yeah, just being curious about that, because I'm really noticing as we walk through the forest, the smells of the forest that I'm really, especially after rain, I smell the leaves and the humus on the ground and the dampness, just the smell of the damp, and the trees and the scent from the flowers as we're walking by the wildflowers and the acacias. And enjoying those scents, and really almost like I've got this heightened sense of smell. And actually I've been walking some of the forests we've walked through, particularly the really dank, dark kind of valleys where it's quite moist underfoot and doesn't get a lot of daylight penetrating the wood. There's a lot of thick canopy. I was noticing the smell actually reminded me of my menstrual blood, which, was a shock, because I was, walking for a few hours and going, sort of noticing that smell. That sort of familiar kind of scent, and not finding it, finding it kind of a trigger, like a memory trigger, but not kind of offensive, just kind of like this earthy, deeply kind of earthy, natural, strong odor. And remembering how I used to make my own menstrual pads and soak them for a few days before I washed them, and then I would use the soaking water, the rich, bloody water on my plants as a fertilizer. And the smell was like this smell of the forest, and it was like, wow, sort of flipping it from a stench or something that I was not necessarily finding pleasant to something that is in nature and is beautiful and natural and just emanating from this forest. If I have had that reframe when I was menstruating, how different, I just wonder about how different I would have felt perhaps about that smell. And about how natural, like how connected I am to nature as a woman, a menstruating woman, you know, and to humus and decomposing vegetative matter and birth and growth and life, you know. And I was remembering how my first bleed, well, after I gave birth to Arid, I was bleeding for a while after giving birth, as you do. But I remember the first time I took off my handmade menstrual pad, and I don't know why I was moved to sniff my pad, and it was such a beautiful scent. Like, it was floral and sweet, and it shocked me because I wasn't used to that. I wasn't expecting that, and I shared it with my midwife, and she said, why would you be surprised about that? You know, you've just created this beautiful, perfect human being that came through the birth canal of your vagina, and then this is the liquid, the nectar, the fluid that came with, that held him for 9 months. And of course that would be a sacred, beautiful, you know, exquisite thing, a fluid, a life-giving fluid. And so, yeah, I'm finding that quite interesting, my responses to scents and how my take on it, my take on scent, various scents, and wondering about embracing those scents that our body might emanate from my body. And what needs does that meet? For me, I guess acceptance, self-love, celebration, beauty, maybe joy, embracing what is and celebrating what is alive in me, what emanates from me, the nature, the natural, and my connection, my body, my female body's connection with nature and the cycle of life. Anyway, I think that's enough, and I'm going to enjoy this beautiful, beautiful river. Bye.